It is here, the biggest show of the year, the most stupendous two-night WrestleMania is taking place this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It is predictions time here on SCW. My name is Steve, and I'm joined in hot seat today by none other than Jonesy Chats Wrestling. George, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thank you, Steve. Great to be here. It's WrestleMania, the one time of the year, where big kids all come out. But no, definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Thank you for having me on the channel, mate. I'm really excited to discuss this.
It's great to have you back, and it's great to hear that vintage tune from the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff indeed there. What of WrestleMania fever then? Where are you pitching at the moment on a score between 1 and 10?
Do you want my honest score or my optimism? I'm going to go with, I think the show, to be fair, I'm going to go like a 6 out of 10, but I am optimistic that some of these matches are really going to over-deliver, which will carry the show. So I think it'll be like probably an 8 out of 10 show potentially. If stuff goes well, it's WrestleMania, they're not going to let us down. I think this will be maybe the one show they put it out, really, of the year.
Joe, I agree with you. I feel myself, I sit there myself and say the build hasn't necessarily been the strongest, but I think on the night, I think it's going to be all right. I think we've got a lot to look forward to. And like I say, it's 2 nights this WrestleMania, so we've got a lot of match card here. Supersonic is already in the house saying good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking out the stream. So what we're going to do is we're going to break the stream into 2 halves. So we're going to do night 1, then do night 2. So that's how our structure is going to be. So before we start with night 1, Supersonics give the verdict there, 6 out of 10 for excitement there. We're going to try and change that to a 10 by the end of this stream. That's going to be our goal here. So to kick things off, let's go in and see what we've got to look forward to on night 1. So a great variety then on the first night. We've got both women's championship matches. We've got the return of Steve Austin. We've got a celebrity in Logan Paul involved there as well. And we've got some tag team championships also. So lots to digest into. We've got Ben in-house as well, says hi. And we've got Ed Fries, who says 9 out of 10. There's a lot to be excited about on this card. I do agree that there's a lot we can get out of this card. And we're going to digest that as we go through each and every match. So Jonesy, let's start off big show. Let's start off in the most stupendous way possible. Let's go with the Raw Women's Championship match of Becky Lynch defending against Bianca Belair. Now, to give a brief summary of this rivalry, because it's one of the longest standing feuds we have here, it's been going since SummerSlam. Becky's return, winning the SmackDown Women's Championship in 26 seconds, replacing Sasha Banks and Carmella on the night as well. Big shock. Of course, then the fans turned on Becky Lynch. She went heel, did everything she could to escape with the championship. DQ finishes, a cheating roll-up finish as well to put Bianca Belair to the back of the line. Bianca then went through the series, went and had the longest run in the Royal Rumble again for the 3rd year running, and then won the Elimination Chamber to get to this spot. We've then had the back and forth where, well, Bianca put Becky out of action, then Becky put Bianca out of action, and to finish, but Bianca was the one cutting Becky's hair in the end, where Becky is in a horrible mood going into WrestleMania. So, Jonesy, what are your thoughts going into this match of WrestleMania? Definitely one of the longer feuds between then and now.
Yeah, I think it's a really quite a good feud. I think it's been built up pretty well. I think they've done a great job of rebuilding Bianca Belair from where she was in August. I think they've done a fantastic job. I'm enjoying it. I'm intrigued by this. Becky Lynch has been fired since she's come back since August. For me, I think this is great. All I want to see him do is, on SmackDown this week, for example, is add that hair versus title match they need to do. Based on the whole hair cutting thing, that has to be an element in this match in some capacity, I think. Something that they're screaming out for.
Absolutely, indeed. Then I've realised I've just put the wrong banner on the screen. I've put 2 banners set for today and for another time as well. There, but here's the correct banner for you. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think this is going to be a good one. Do you think there's a chance that hair versus title match could be inserted last minute going into the show? Because obviously hair has become a big factor here, and obviously Bianca's hair has been a big factor in general. Because one thing I didn't mention was that obviously she whipped Becky on the build as well, leaving a lot of sort of marks, scarring, if you want, bruising, probably the better word for it. How are you feeling? Do you reckon it will be added, or do you reckon this is something that's going to be, if you want, a placeholder, a match at WrestleMania, and that will be extended?
Yeah, I think it's just temporarily sort of a placeholder. I'll be surprised if they add it. They should do. It's very unusual on SmackDown on Raw this past week where the babyface got the cut. You got Bianca cutting her hair, which is pretty unusual. But for me, I think they probably won't add it. In terms of a winner, I'm going to go to a prediction now. My winner is Bianca Belair. This is the time to right the wrong at SummerSlam. And yeah, I think she's going to win. It'll be a great match, though. Definitely, I'm excited to see it. Again, this time they will get more time than the Extreme Rules and SummerSlam match, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. I mean, that's the other worry is, will this be 26 seconds?
Yeah. Oh, God, that's not a very long time, is it? I think it should be a really fantastic match. Hopefully, they get to sort of show what they can do. But Bianca's got to win this. I think if she doesn't win this, it'll be more damaging than good. It'll be a shame to ruin her momentum winning the Elimination Chamber and a great show in the Rumble to not get a belt, really.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. I totally agree. It would perhaps do more damage if Bianca wasn't to win here. I wonder if we may get some form of haircut for Becky going into WrestleMania just to really sort of just sell it even more. And we could just see a really sort of angry, bitter, moody Becky Lynch. And like you say there, maybe she could lose the match and then perhaps maybe it becomes more of a situation where she wants to get revenge on Bianca's hair, and Bianca's hair is the one that's on the line on the rematch. That's certainly something as an idea I could see going forward. But a part of me was a bit torn because I was Bianca all the way. Then I thought there's a chance after Raw it could be Becky. But for me today, the storyline still reads that it makes more sense for Bianca Belair to walk away with the Raw Women's Championship than Becky this Sunday.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think what would be great, if I was booking this, what I would like to do, I'd like to see Bianca Belair get the win. Then the lights go out and you get the return of Bayley. This is a place to bring Bayley back, I think, for me. And then you got a match for the pay-per-view next month ready to go.
To see her return. Just to go into the comments then, we've got Ben here saying that Bianca Belair is winning. Get a feeling that Becky is going to go berserk, mentally scared after losing this weekend. That'd be an interesting twist of a storyline, wouldn't it, if we saw that ideology, the idea that Becky kind of just loses her mind. She was losing it already as Raw Women's Champion when she was going against Lita. There's been rumours of a Trish feud going to happen in the works as well. Is that a feud that would need a title?
No, not necessarily. That's a massive match, isn't it? It's the past versus the current, so I'd love to see that. Let's hope that happens. That sounds like to me for a match in Saudi down the line later this year, maybe, rather than something we'll get on American soil, probably.
Be interested to see if that was to happen. Here, Bianca wins at SummerSlam. Might be hair versus hair. Could be a suggestion there as well. The hair versus hair later down the line there. So all round, Bianca Belair. I will say that I am aware that there has been a couple of freezing issues. That's why we had a big delay in starting, by the way, of this stream. So if that does continue, I do encourage people to let me know in the comments because I want this to be enjoyable for everybody. So, if it's not working, I'd like to know. So please do keep us informed. But we'll go on to match 2, which is going to be Seth freaking Rollins against an opponent of Mr. McMahon's choosing. So, of course, it's the worst kept secret in wrestling, the idea that Cody Rhodes is meant to be debuting against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. But if you're to believe PW Insider, Shane McMahon will be around on WrestleMania weekend. So, what would you do, Jonesy, if you were to hear Seth Rollins to come to the ring, get the woes from the crowd, and then we get introduced that Mr. McMahon's going to bring out another opponent for Seth Rollins, and instead of Kingdom, we hear, "Here comes the money."
Yeah, I think, to be fair, that would be kind of clever, because the momentum that Cody Rhodes is going to get when he does come out to Kingdom at WrestleMania, this could be relevant to CM Punk's debut in AEW, I think. The pop's going to be huge. I can see them doing that. They obviously pitched this Seth Rollins, Shane McMahon match sort of around the Rumble time that didn't kind of happen. So for me, I can see that happening. And if it does end up being a match between Cody and Seth, my winner is Cody. Cody's winning this. He's coming in. He's winning. I just think it's going to be fun. I can't believe Cody's back in WWE. It's going to be exciting. I just wish I didn't know, to be fair, because I think this would have been so magical if it had been kept secret, really.
I totally agree. I mean, the thing is, obviously, it's come out, and WWE, I think, have done their best to work around the fact that it's come out. I think that they've done a great job of the feud. I did a video the other day saying how the idea of this Seth Rollins trying to get in everybody else's spots instead because he couldn't get into WrestleMania. I thought that was really a fun idea of how they did that, and it's obviously detracted from the Cody stuff. And even this week on Raw, they knew the Cody thing has got out. So, Seth destroyed the set. So instead, Mr. McMahon said, "Come to my office." And they've kind of took Seth away from the arena, almost to kind of say, like, we know the Cody thing's happening. Let's just try and stop the Cody chants in the arenas where people can hear it at home. Let's try and keep it secret from as many people as possible. I mean, obviously, the idea that we say Kingdom, I think it'll be great for Cody to come back. Cody would be my prediction. If it is Shane McMahon, Now, that was a match that was rumoured around Royal Rumble time, that a match that was potentially rumoured for WrestleMania. Should that happen, just say it did, would
No,
Shane be your prediction or would Seth be your prediction? Just a what if.
I think it's Seth. Seth has to win if it's Shane versus Seth. Shane was on his last legs, obviously, at the Rumble, following him trying to put himself over. I don't want to see that. When you can't get people like Damian Priest and Finn Balor and Ricochet on this card, there's no place for Shane McMahon. Sorry, there isn't.
I totally agree.
Although this is a hand-picked opponent chosen by Vince, I'm not too sure how Cody fits into Vince McMahon or if that's going to be explained as a dynamic. All I can imagine, the other idea I had for you, Steve, was that you get sort of somebody backstage, like a Elias return, they get taken out, and then you get Cody come out. So you get what's going to be Elias. I've got this person. You get sort of backstage cameras, there's Elias, and then wham, he gets taken out, and then you get Cody. Maybe you get some feet, and then you get Cody. But I think it's going to be a great moment. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and the fans are going to go crazy, particularly the ones if they've managed to stay spoiler-free.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I think that's a great idea because the thing is, you said there, like, I mean, say it was Shane McMahon that was called out and then obviously he introduces the person, or if it's Elias and they get attacked and Cody takes the spot, it gives that babyface feel. So, and obviously it's kind of like SummerSlam last year. We got Carmella, didn't we, before Becky Lynch. So that could kind of really work into narrative. So yeah, I like the idea of all of that. Let's go into the comments then. See what we've got to say. Supersonic saying, speaking of Saudi Arabia, guess what TLC is the next premium live event there in the fall. Interesting. Didn't know that. That's going to be fascinating to see what they'll do for that show. They're getting some of the big shows over there now. Shane McMahon is going to be a meme that will be haunting Seth Rollins. However, I'm going with Cody Rhodes winning. That's again, the same as how we feel. Ed here saying that he still feels it's going to be Shane wrestling. He should be working with Steph and Pat McAfee. That would have been fun to have watched. Yeah, they could have switched that around had that have been the case. But of course, you mentioned there actually a second ago, that point's made up. If it's Mr. McMahon's handpicked opponent, why would it not be Austin Theory? I know he's in the match, but surely that would have made more sense.
Yeah, it would have. But this whole thing of Vince picking it, it's a last decision. They changed their plans this week on Raw, as you said earlier, Steve. You alluded to earlier. They're just doing this to run along with the storyline. But for me, I think it's an interesting dynamic. I just can't wait to see Seth Rollins' reaction when he realizes it's Cody. That's going to be worth it in its own. His mannerisms are going to be great. You can imagine him now. He's going to be going crazy, isn't he?
Absolutely. And he's protected by defeat as well. He hasn't a clue. Who else would it be? You could imagine it being anyone in the locker room. Could have even fought someone from NXT. Didn't expect an outsider like Cody. Seth is protected. It ticks all the boxes. Everyone's protected. And Cody gets a big win on night one, beating a former world champion.
Can I say one last thing as well about Cody? The last thing about Cody as well I was going to say is,
of course,
I expect this Cody to come in, and this is going to be the closest we're going to get to WWE acknowledging AEW. We're going to get this. This is going to be somebody that, this will be AEW's Cody. They won't say AEW on TV, but it will be the mannerisms and the American Nightmare. I think it's a fantastic addition. And as you said, Steve, previously, if they don't put this Cody run right, who else is going to want to go there? So it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Definitely.
That's very interesting. And one other ironic note, there's a big star, isn't there, on WrestleMania? Let's hope it's not Stardust.
Oh, God, yeah. Let's hope.
Ed Fry says, I think Seth wins regardless because I think Cody moves down to the US title. Interesting. And then Seth heads up to the World Championship for Raw, either an attorney or against Roman. Love the philosophies, love the ideas there from Ed. Certainly would make an interesting philosophy. I mean, Seth didn't lose to Roman earlier this year. So Seth should be in around the world title picture after Mania, especially if he was to pick up a win against a returning Cody Rhodes or whoever is given against. So like the ideas there. Certainly it's different to what we've been discussing. So I like that. Let's go through some of the other matches then. We're going to go with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods against Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Of course, this was originally meant to be a six-man tag team match. So you see Butch actually in the graphic there, but of course, Big E was supposed to be a part of this match. But of course, he had the horrific neck injury, broken neck. We wish him a very speedy recovery. There seems to be no revenge at this point. Kofi has not been able to win matches against Ridge Holland, but Xavier Woods did return this past week on SmackDown in the Barclays Center. Got a quick win over Ridge Holland. I think the New Day will be picking up the win here against Sheamus and Ridge Holland. I'm going to just make it brief here. I don't see the heels winning, even though Butch is at ringside. I can see the New Day doing it. What do you feel?
Yeah, same as you. The New Day are going to win here. I think this is a rebirth for the New Day, and I think they'll go on from this and then face the Usos yet again for the 100th time. But yeah, I think it's just this will be a good solid match, if nothing else. It's just a filler, really.
I think it'll be a good solid match as well, though. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, the thing is as well, as I was going to mention a second ago, and it's just slipped me mind, the idea of Butch there being on the outside, do you feel sorry for him that he's not got this WrestleMania match now?
Yeah, it is a real shame he hasn't got that spot. But I guess he can do some good on the outside. But I think he can still do stuff on the outside. He can still make a mark. He can still sort of cut promos to the camera, can't he, if necessary? But at least he's in that involvement. At least he's on the camera. And he's getting that sort of rub of WrestleMania to a certain point.
Absolutely. And the other just quick question I'd like to mention to you as well was King Woods was mentioned as Xavier Woods heavily on commentary this week. Do you think they're quietly going to drop this King gimmick going forward?
Yes, particularly if they want to do another King of the Ring later this year. I think they will probably try and get that off him, to be fair.
Yeah, I probably can see it seems to slow there. Even on that graphic there, it just says Xavier Woods. We don't see King Woods. So feels like they're going to slowly fade that away now. Ben says that New Day is winning. And Edward Fry says Fight Club or Fight Night, whichever they're called, they're going to be winning. It would make sense in a way because Butcher's at ringside. It would keep them strong going forward. So I do see that. And Rich Holland, a young gun as well, could do with a big WrestleMania win. That would do him a lot of favors. Rich Holland, he's got a lot to gain from this match.
Yeah, definitely. I like him. He's a good, solid wrestler so far. I'm impressed.
He's
Hard hitting.
Absolutely. Very unfortunate with the thing that happened with Big E. It's very unfortunate what happened, but it does look a good, solid athlete nonetheless. Superstar says they're going with the New Day winning because they're going to do it for Big E. And that's the thing. I can see them getting the ultimate revenge. And that's a perfect point there, which moves us on to the next match. Because, Jonesy, you said the idea about the Usos. Well, funnily enough, SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Usos going against Shinsuke and Nakamura and Rick Boogs there for us on the way next now. And what have been your thoughts of the dynamic of Boogs and Nakamura?
Yeah, it's okay. They're a filler tag team. For me, they're a bit of a mismatch. They're a bit like Nicholas and Braun at WrestleMania. I've got that feel. I've got that kind of familiarity with them. They're okay in the ring, but I just think they're just not really credible as challengers. Although they've got wins, single wins over both the Usos, if that makes sense. I just think it's not really something I want to see. This match to me feels thrown together because they had no other tag teams available, which is a shame. If I would like to see them called up, sort of Imperium or somebody from NXT to be in this spot, really, rather than because I just think Nakamura's wasted in the tag team.
Yeah, I can understand that theory. I think the thing for me is it's just been. I know they've had a partnership for a while now, but we're not really seeing them build up in the tag team division. Nakamura only lost the Intercontinental title. So we've very quickly got into this spot here with them being the number one contenders for the tag titles, and they were beat from behind, weren't they? From the Usos, then Boogs won a singles match, so they've not really won a lot of tag matches to get here. So does it kind of feel a bit more underwhelming this match than it should?
Yeah, it feels like to me like it would be a match on the free for all back in the good old days of WWE. But yeah, no, for me it's an obvious one. Usos winning all day long, and I'm glad to see them on the pay per view. But I just wish we compared to the Raw tag team title match, this just feels a bit light for me.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, but I agree with you as well. Usos picking up the win all day long here. I think that even though it would put a bit more doubt into the idea of Roman the next night, I still feel that it makes most sense for the Usos to win here.
I agree with you, Steve.
And Ben also says the Usos are winning there. So, yes, we'll move on then to our next match then. We're going a bit quick fire through some of these ones because I think they're a bit more obvious here. We've got Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. Of course, Happy Corbin has been undefeated under the Happy gimmick. Of course, him and Madcap Moss took Drew McIntyre out on day one with a good backstage attack. I enjoyed that when they did that and took him out. We thought Drew would be out for a while. He was back in time for the Royal Rumble. He actually took out Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin from the Royal Rumble. And of course, then we've slowly built up matches here where we've got Happy Corbin versus Drew at WrestleMania after a number of occasions where Madcap Moss has been the one losing to Drew. And Madcap Moss now is slowly being less funny, which I don't know how that's possible, really, but he's definitely less funny to Corbin. I mean, for me here, I know they've stolen Angela the Sword once again. That's kind of where this feud also started. We've kind of gone full circle with it. For me personally, I just can't see anything but Drew McIntyre winning. They've made a big deal of Corbin not losing under this current gimmick. Drew needs to be pushed back towards the main event picture at some point in the near future or upper near that echelon of main event. I feel Drew has to win here.
Yeah, my predictions, my thoughts of it. This is going to be an okay match. I think it will deliver a certain amount of entertainment. I'm not really that bothered by it. This feud's been going on for quite a long time. I'm disappointed with Drew's placement. Obviously, last year he was challenging for the world title. This year he's in a nothing match. But crucially for me, the winner, as you said, is Drew. Drew already beat both these guys in a handicap match this past week on Raw. He's going to beat Baron Corbin. There's no way he's not winning. So Drew McIntyre to win all day long, really. I think this will hopefully be the end of the feud and we get Drew back to that main event scene that's lacking a bit.
Absolutely. Do you think it's a shame that we couldn't get someone like a John Cena in to sort of pass the torch over the Drew for this show?
Yeah, great point. That would have been fantastic to see. I think even Drew, John Cena, as you said, would be great. Even Drew versus Stone Cold Steve Austin potentially, they could have maybe done something which could have been fun. But yeah, it is a real shame. But it's great to see Baron Corbin on the card in some capacity. But I just think this is just a match on the card. Really, I'm surprised they haven't got another no DQ element like they had in the Elimination Chamber. Again.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, could have done indeed there. Well, Ed Fries reckons that Happy Corbin wins here. He needs a big moment. He needs to be in the title contention at some point soon. Well, I mean, Corbin's gimmick does work, I would agree. But I mean, the thing is, Corbin could still go for a mid-card title, couldn't he, even in defeat here?
Yeah, he could. As I said, I'd be very surprised if that happens, Ed. And you're a betting man. Get your bet on at the bookies. I'd say you'd make a lot of money on that. Particularly, I don't even know what the odds are on Happy Corbin, but you might get 25-1 or something. I'd be very shocked if that happens.
Well, it's an interesting one, certainly indeed, because the rest have said, Ben said Drew for the win, so was Super Sonic X. But do you know what? Sometimes you've got to be bold in your predictions.
Yeah.
And Ed, I like that you're bold. You've got to be bold. Go bold or go home. And he's gone bold, and I like it because if he wins, he's the one to say, told you so.
Yeah, he is. Definitely.
Super Sonic X also says here the Usos are winning from our previous match there for us. So yeah, we're doing quite well. We've gone through 20 minutes of the stream. We've done 5 matches already in night 1. Should we go on for a 6?
Let's do it. Number 6.
Number 6 it is. Let's talk about the Mysterios against The Miz and Logan Paul. Everybody's favorite Logan Paul. And The Miz seems to be always surrounded with celebrity when it comes to WrestleMania. Of course, he was in the match against Bad Bunny last year, which worked really, really well. How do you feel it's going to work with Logan Paul in action?
I think it'll be all right. I think this will be an okay match. Miz isn't a bad worker. The Mysterios aren't bad. This is kind of the end of the feud for me. I think crucially the payoff for this, I think the Mysterios are winning. I think Logan Paul will turn on the Miz because they want Logan Paul to be a babyface, but that's the route they're going down. What I would like to see personally, though, I'd love to see the Mysterios fall out and this lead to a match. To be fair, I think this is a scene to kind of do it for a big shocking heel turn. But no, I think you're winning to see the Mysterios. In all honesty, this is a filler match for me. I get they're bringing in a celeb here, but I've not really got any interest in it. To be fair, I wish John Morrison was back in the spot instead of Logan Paul. In all honesty.
Yes, absolutely. Although, I mean, it comes down into that term of celebrity in wrestling. Obviously, Logan Paul obviously was involved in boxing last year against Mayweather.
Yeah.
Did well on pay-per-view buys, so I guess they see him as a draw. And Logan Paul has suggested the idea that he might want to stick around after WrestleMania. So would that upset you if he was to?
No, not really. It wouldn't really bother me. It's just where I have the problem is where we're getting these celebs and you can't get your Intercontinental title and United States title on the show. That's the only thing that kind of agrees with me really in that respect.
I can understand that. There's one other element of the story, because you said about the Mysterios winning there, and this is where it could might make sense for the Mysterios to win. Obviously, Ray's mask has been stolen in the last couple of weeks. And obviously, you know, there's been this story about Dominic Mysterio. It was mentioned on commentary that he's not wearing a mask at the moment because he needs to earn it from Ray. This is a big opportunity for Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania because, let's be fair, we've got the celebrity in Logan Paul, former world champion in The Miz, former world champion in his dad and WWE 2K star. Dominic has everything to gain in this match, surely.
What an analysis, Steve. That's excellent. That analysis there is really, really good. Yeah, he has everything. And maybe this is a spot, as you said, for him to get given that mask. Because I always remember Rey Mysterio's costumes at WrestleMania. They were classical, even going back to the one. Do you remember the one when he was Spider-Man? And they used to just be so great back in the day. But yeah, definitely. But the Mysterios have to win it. This is a feel-good story. And this is the payoff, I think. Mysterios to win.
Fantastic. No, it's good to see your prediction. I'm going to quickly go to the predictions in the comments before I give my final take on it. Ben is saying that Ray and Dom are winning here. We've also got Ed Fry saying that Logan Paul was working in the PC and they were showing off some good stuff with him and The Miz and MSK on YouTube. Might need to go and check that out. That's really interesting stuff there. I'm actually, even though I think all that makes sense, everything makes sense there, I actually think that WWE are going to give Miz and Logan Paul the victory, and I think it's going to carry over to another month. I'm going to predict that. Got to go bold sometimes, haven't we? As I said earlier.
Big prediction, my friend. Big prediction.
That is.
But, we will see. I hope you're wrong. Sorry.
A bit of me hopes I'm wrong, because I'd like Dom to get the mask. But I just got this feeling after Raw. I looked in and thought, I think Logan Paul may still get a victory there. Do you think we'll get a Moon Knight Mysterio outfit for this after Moon Knight dropping today? That would be interesting. Obviously, if that's dropped today, it's topical. It's in the theme. Certainly would be good. Would you be down for seeing that?
Yeah, I don't really know what this Moon Knight is, to be fair, I'm being honest, but I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure if it's something that's topical, then everyone will be talking about it, then no harm will come of it, probably.
Certainly. It's either that or dressing up as the Oscars at the moment, isn't it, after the Will Smith, Chris Rock debacle that was going on. But we'll have to wait and see how it will play out. Supersonic also saying that Drew McIntyre needs to stop the Tribal Chief. Something you could see perhaps in 6 months down the line quickly?
I hope so. Yeah, he eventually, yes, definitely.
There's a UK event expected. That could be the perfect place for it. But let's go on to our next match then, which I think will be, well, it's the only match currently advertised that's left. We've got the SmackDown Women's Championship of Charlotte Flair against Royal Rumble winner and returning Ronda Rousey. This is going to be very interesting because, well, it was built as a submission match to begin with, but then obviously things changed a little bit. We've got brawls backstage, kind of like the stuff that was going on with WrestleMania 35 build with, Ronda Rousey in the car stuff going on. Then Ronda Rousey was put for a table the following week. Now we've been put basically with the submission stuff once again. It's been a bit of a mismatch with the old build of this match, but it is a big time deal match. What's your excitement levels and what are you feeling with Ronda Rousey against Charlotte Flair?
Yeah, I think this will be a classical match. I think it'll be very good. I think it'll be very technical. Obviously, Ronda's looked very strong since a Royal Rumble win earlier in the year. For me, I think I've not really been invested in the promos. I think the promos have been pretty wooden by both women. I don't think it's been that great. But in terms of a prediction for me, I think Charlotte's going to retain. As much as I think Ronda, they've got a lot of money invested in Ronda. I think it's all about the chase, and I can see Charlotte just retaining just to get one over on the fans. Because I think ultimately the thing with this is Charlotte as a heel and as a champion, I think works so well. And I just don't see them changing both women's titles on this pay-per-view.
Interesting. Because for me, I've had this down as a sir. I've got Ronda doing it because I think they're going to build on the submission style in the match. I think that they will play that story during it. So will Ronda Rousey tap out to the figure eight? No, she won't. Most people usually do. And then we'll probably have the arm bar, which I think perhaps Charlotte will find a way out of. And then I think it will come down to the ankle lock, and I think that's where Ronda's going to win.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. It makes sense for her to kind of get the win, but I'm going to be bold with that prediction, but I'm definitely going to go Charlotte. And I think it'll be fun. The fact it's not main eventing now, if Charlotte does win, it's not going to totally kill the show with what's coming after the main event, if that makes sense. What's coming after this match?
Absolutely, indeed. There. Absolutely, and we're going to be talking about it in a couple of seconds' time. But Supersonic saying it's a total disaster of a build. Yeah, it's just been a bit of a mismatch. The stuff itself hasn't been bad. It's just they've kind of thrown it together. It's not really had continuity in the story. I think that's been probably the best way to sum up why it's been a bit of a problem. And Ben says here that Ronda Rousey is winning. So yeah, interesting stuff indeed there. We'll have to see how it's going to play out. Jones and I on different sides of the fence for that one. But one thing I'm sure we're definitely on the both sides of the fence of. And Jonesy, tell me if you want to see the KO show with Stone Cold Steve Austin, give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah, no, definitely. It's great to see Stone Cold Steve Austin back. Really, really excited to see this. This is another thing that's going to be a fantastic moment. Kevin Owens is a great talker. Stone Cold Steve Austin is a great talker. I think this is going to be fun. The pop that Austin's going to get could probably be the loudest of the weekend, hence why they've moved it to the spot it's in on the card. I've got a question for you, Steve. This is a controversial question, putting you on the spot now. Do we see Stone Cold Steve Austin doing a WrestleMania 9 and then challenging the winner of the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match at the end of night 2? Do we see that as maybe a talking point to end WrestleMania? Can you imagine it?
I could imagine it, but I'm going to WrestleMania 9, wouldn't it? Jesus, I don't think Austin's that much of a politician. I think Austin, if he's going to come back, he's going to do it right. But I will ask you: is this going to be just a KO show, or is it going to turn into a match to actually main event the show?
I've heard Austin's in ring shape, so if they do a match, there's a good chance of this. But I don't know. The thing is, everyone just wants to see Stone Cold do the stunner. I think it would be just a spot, to be fair. I'd be surprised if it's a match, even though he's in ring shape. And I'm interested to see if it is going to be a match, if this leads to something on night 2 involving both of them in some sort of capacity.
I think if it has to main event night 1, which is now expected to, and KO even said it on the mic. Obviously, we've had the build of like he hates Texas. We've had everything that's built up here. I mean, I loved KO, by the way, when he came out to Austin's music. Thought that was freaking amazing. He played the crowd in Chicago so well twice also. But I mean, like for me, if you're going to do this segment as your main event segment, it must turn into a match. And if it's like a 5-minute match, Austin will play it smart. He will not overdo it where some other legends have done it in the past. I can see Austin doing a clever match. And would you take it away from Kevin Owens? Kevin Owens kind of deserves it after everything he's been through. Remember 2017, WrestleMania 33? My only problem with it is that I kind of feel the women should have had one main event on WrestleMania. But at the same time, it is, like you said, it's going to be very hard to follow this.
Definitely. I think it's the pop. The fact there's the pop. But no, for me, if they are going to do a match, it's obviously the winner is Stone Cold Steve Austin's going to win. He's not going to lose to Kevin Owens, despite the amount of lift that would give Kevin Owens, like the rub it would give him. But yeah, I agree with you. In terms of the women's match being the main event, it would have been the Becky Lynch Bianca Belair match that I would have chosen the main event, but I'm excited. It's great to see Stone Cold Steve Austin back. This is a huge addition for WrestleMania. It makes it feel big, which is good to see.
It makes it feel stupendous, doesn't it?
Yeah, stupendous. Yeah, stupendous. Definitely. Yeah, it does.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I have to agree with you. And yeah, I mean, Austin coming in, that is celebrity, that is attraction. That's even WWE celebrity attraction. So that's something that they can offer to the table. So it's definitely a big time feel, and it should be awesome when it comes around. But Ed Finally actually bringing up here, I think the fact that Austin Owens main eventing is more problematic when it comes to the IC and US title not being on the show and having celebs on the nights of Mania. This is a very interesting topic and point here, and something that I definitely wanted to dive more into as we actually were going to talk about on night two. But as it's been brought to our attention now, let's talk about it, shall we? Obviously, WrestleMania SmackDown, we've got Finn Balor in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. We've got Ricochet defending the IC title in a triple threat match against Angel and Humberto. Is it just because of the fact that the matches just aren't that relevant, or is it because of the fact that they just don't care about those championships or the
To
people
be
holding
honest,
them?
Steve, they just don't care about the championships. They're doing their best job to make the champions look worthless. And it's a real shame because both Ricochet and Finn Balor, both are credible people. And the same with Damian Priest as well. They're all kind of credible. So for me, it's a travesty. We've had some fantastic Intercontinental title matches at WrestleMania before. Um, I just think I don't know how this is not on the card. You've only got 7 matches on one night. What's the difference adding one match on both nights? Like adding 8 matches instead of 7, and have both titles on the line. You know what I mean? It's just shows the mid card division at the moment is not where it needs to be, unfortunately. And I agree with Ed's comment 100%.
I mean, for me, both belts should be on there. Like you said, if WrestleMania is half an hour longer, each night is a cause of it. Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. You have, I don't know, Ricochet against whoever. I mean, it can even be Angel and Humberto. They're great. It would be a good match. That we know it's going to
Yeah.
be a fun match between the three of them. They can all go, even if it's a 205 live special. But yeah, like you say, the importance of the divisions, the titles isn't good, and it shouldn't be a reflection on those titles because of the celebrities. Because in my opinion, and Jonesy, I want your take on this. WrestleMania is all about celebrity, is it not?
Yeah, it's the celebrities bringing the non fans. Let's be fair, Steve. You said that to me many times. I agree with that. That's smart business. The trouble with this ultimately is celebrities are only there temporarily. They're going to go as soon as this event's gone, and the rest of the wrestlers that have been there all year round are left doing nothing. And let's go back to the old days. In the old days, your future world champions would come from the Intercontinental title division. People such as The Rock, Austin, Triple H, they all came through the Intercontinental title division. How can Ricochet have become world champion if you're not even going to put him on WrestleMania? That's kind of the problem I have with this a little bit.
I totally agree with that point. The only thing I would say, we talked about Steve Austin a minute ago, technically a celebrity, a WWE celebrity. Would Steve Austin been Steve Austin without Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson came in, Mike Tyson left. He didn't come back for many, many years after. Would we have got the same Steve Austin that got that over with everybody without Mike Tyson?
It's a good question, but to be fair, I think Austin really got over at the King of the Ring '96. Like I think that pay-per-view, that promo, and the catchy, but Tyson gave him that rub. But let's be fair, that move that's a good bringing in a celeb, isn't it? That's kind of worked. But bringing in Johnny Knoxville, bringing in Logan Paul, I don't think they're going to have that effect. Sorry, Steve.
No, I mean, I don't think the celebrities are as good as Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson was at the height of the heyday,
huge. He was so over.
height of Hollywood. Yeah, he was so over.
So over.
WrestleMania 1, Evander Holyfield. Not Evander Holyfield. That was I'm talking about that. Muhammad Ali. Sorry. Yeah. Evander was getting on a bit. He was in the crowd probably somewhere. I don't know if you kept an eye out in the corner, but no. Yeah, Muhammad Ali. You had Cyndi Lauper on WrestleMania 1 as well. So that I mean, WrestleMania has always been built on this idea of celebrity. But I do agree, your main championships should be on this show. I don't think one cancels out the other. I think both should be incorporated. I think that's probably the best way to answer that.
Yeah, fair point, Steve. I think the thing with it is you just got to hope that the celebs that are there give the rub to the wrestlers that are there with. Hopefully, they get a lift off the celebs a little bit.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But Jeff Samuel in the house, thank you, Jeff, by the way, says, what's up, guys? But he said, do you think that the IC title, they will add the IC belt and have people in the Battle Royal interfere and cost Ricochet on SmackDown, maybe have a ladder match or something, and Finn versus Damien maybe? They could always build to something from these to add to WrestleMania. So maybe we are being a little bit pessimistic or, we have had great matches added at the last minute. Yeah, because, I mean, Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit, one of the top matches of WrestleMania 17, added 6 days before the show. We didn't know it before WrestleMania.
That's a fair point. That's a fantastic point you've made there, to be fair. But I don't know. Can a match be added like the day before? It's kind of optimistic, isn't it, to be fair? But never say never. They should say that this Battle Royal should be a number one contender slot for something. And that's how they get it on the pay-per-view, to be fair. I agree with you, Steve. But I
Yeah.
can hope. What would you rather see, the United States title or the IC title be on the pay-per-view?
Oh, that's making me choose. But I'm a WWE guy for through and through over WCW, so I see all the way. I grew up with that.
Awesome. That'd
So
be
how
good.
about you?
It'd be good to see. Yeah, to be fair, I think the US title match potentially if it's Priest and Balor would be better, but I'm a massive fan of the IC title, so it has to be IC title. I'm with you, Steve. I'm a WWE guy, really.
Yeah, that's true. But both belts have their meaning and have their purpose as well. But to Supersonics, last comment, we'll go on to night 2. Ronda Rousey winning. However, it's a big if. We might see a returning Oscar at the end of the match to attack Charlotte. Evidence that WWE uploaded their match on YouTube today. Interesting stuff if they've done that, because they do that for a reason. So yeah, maybe Oscar could be coming for the winner of that match. That'll be interesting to see whether it be on the night or on a Raw or a SmackDown. And Elias saying, I don't think you called this, but what if Shane is with Cody from the Alliance from a former WWE star, and then Seth turns face, and we've got a reason to fight Cody, like Cody to sell out the storyline. We're definitely not going to give that narrative. We like that narrative. What do you think of the narrative?
I like it. It's creative. I think, yeah, you got to paint it. Cody, obviously, in AEW as a babyface, was really struggling. So I think as a heel, he'd be great. But I think they're going to book him as a babyface. Like, as much as I want to see him as a heel, I just can't see him coming out of this as a heel. I hope I'm wrong. The only way he'll come out as a heel was... do you remember when Chris Jericho came back with his flashing jacket and didn't speak for 3 weeks? Do you remember that? It'll be that sort of arrogance and that sort of condescendingness down. That's the only way I think it'll kind of work with Cody. But yeah, great creative. Let's hope it happens. That's really smart.
It is really smart. But again, I think Cody will be a babyface. But if you haven't seen that, go back to earlier in the stream. We did it in the first 10, 15 minutes of the stream. Just check back, and then you can check with us here. But let's go on to night 2, Jonesy, shall we? Because we've got a lot to go through for night 2. So let's give on the match card before we start. So there you have it there. That's the matches we've got for night 2. Let's dive straight in with the first match that we're going to talk about with night 2, which is going to be the Raw Tag Team Championships. And tell you what, RK Bro defending the belts against the Alpha Academy and the Street Profits. Now, of course, RK Bro were champions for a very, very long time, lost the belts to Alpha Academy. Of course, they had a great rivalry with Alpha Academy as well when they did that. And then, of course, the Street Profits have got themselves involved initially, got themselves the tag title match, but Alpha Academy have wormed their way in after losing the titles to RK Bro. Hope that'll make sense. It's very jumbled, but hey, all 3 teams have been intertwining for the last few months, and now we've got a triple threat match. And it should be a lot of fun because, I mean, we saw the Alpha Academy against RK. That was amazing, wasn't it? So with the Street Profits in place, we know they can go. This triple threat should be really exciting.
Yeah, I think it looks really, really good on paper. I think this is a strong tag team match. It's as strong as we're going to get in 2022 in WWE. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I am shocked that we're not at Randy Orton versus Riddle at this pay-per-view. I was sure at the start of the year we would see that match, but in terms of this match, it's going to be solid. For me, the winners, I'm going to have to go for prediction. I'm going to go RK Bro to retain. The only reason why I don't retain it is if they somehow have this falling out, which will start that feud. But I think RK Bro are going to win. And you can see how over they are with the crowd. They was in the final spot on the go-home Raw to WrestleMania this week, which says it all, really. What's your prediction, Steve?
Yeah, interesting. For me personally, looking at it, I would say that I am looking for... I'm actually thinking the title's going to change hands because RK Bro were the ones that were, over at the end of Raw this past week. And usually that doesn't always help. So I think that the sanction is on. But I have actually flitted backwards and forwards on all 3 teams winning over the last 24 hours. I am going to stick my neck out, though. Originally, I was saying Alpha Academy coming onto this stream, but I'm going to change it to the Street Profits. They've gone with a bit more of a heel streak recently, and I think it'd be interesting to see them as heels with the Raw Tag Team titles. How would you find that?
I like it. My only concern with that one, Steve, or my only thing is, do you think I thought they were going to push Montez Ford as a singles wrestler potentially later this year? And I don't know if the tag team title delays that in some capacity, but I'd be happy with that. If any of these teams win, whoever wins it, I'd be happy with, really, because this is a really great tag team division for WWE by WWE standards.
It really, really is. And do you know what? I'm really pleased to see Chad Gable on WrestleMania. I've got to say that. And I've got one more little thing. This was originally when I had Alpha Academy as the winners, by the way. I'm just going to get your take on this very quickly. If Alpha Academy won and then Gable Stevenson came in afterwards, and then they call him in like, oh, the Olympian is here as well, celebrate with us. And then he sort of like does like a belly to belly on Chad and then knocks Otis out of the ring. Would you be down for that?
That's incredible. That's really, really good. I love it, mate. I think it's really creative. Tell you what I'd love to see though. Let's bring out Kurt Angle as well. Like he could be the manager of that. You've then got a team Angle, haven't you, for 2022? But yeah, I love that creative, mate. Makes sense. Book it, please, WWE.
It would be fun.
Yeah,
it would be fun indeed there. Well, I'll tell you what, we've been asked very quickly. I'll just give you a one-word answer, Jones, in this one because it's not WWE related. Been asked your thoughts who the Bunny will be facing this evening in AEW. Ember Moon all day long.
My prediction.
Just say Jacob's give me about the Mania Retro review. Yes, that will be tomorrow. That will be WrestleMania 21. No surprises there for you. WrestleMania 21 will be tomorrow on this channel. Supersonic X as well is going with the Street Profits for their moment in front of fans. That would be quite cool to see. I think it's just been a while since they've had the belts. It's time for them to get them back, and then they can do what they want with all the other teams going forward. Next, Jonesy, let's talk about Bobby Lashley against Omos now. When the camera comes back on, I'd like you to do me a favor, please. I want you to pat yourself on the back because you called this in January, this match happening way back when. And I said, well, you know, let's see if it happens. It has happened. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really see the point of the narrative, but I'm going to take some of the words out of your mouth, if you don't mind, and then I'm going to use it to ask you a question. Jones's suggestions to me in January was that MVP would turn on Bobby Lashley to join Omos. That was the idea that Jonesy put in place, and that would be a creative idea for the match. And I thought that sounds pretty fun. MVP would give invaluable experience to Omos. Sounds really, really cool. Now, Lashley this week hasn't come back for Seth Rollins, which he could have done, would have made more sense. Didn't go for Austin Theory. Didn't even go for Brock Lesnar. He's come for Omos. He wants to stare him down. But something we said there about MVP, here's something I don't know if people have noticed. Jonesy, tell me if you noticed this, because second off, this is the match graphic we got from WWE. This was the first one when it first got announced earlier in the evening. Is that something to tell us that MVP is going to do what you suggested all these months ago?
He's got to. Like, let's be fair. Like, we play this off like Omos. To be fair, he can't really cut a promo. MVP is one of the greatest talkers in WWE. It kind of makes sense. And this is a cheap way for Bobby Lashley to lose. This is 2022's answer to Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez. The question I have for you, Steve. This is the most important question of the stream so far. Is Omos worse than Giant Gonzalez? You've got. I'm putting you on the spot now, mate.
No, he's not as bad as Giant Gonzalez. He's, in my opinion, not ready for this spot. It's not to be horrible, but he's not ready for this, in my personal opinion. But they're going to give it, and like you said, give him a good talker. That's going to help. He's been in a tag team for a long time. I do still worry where he's going to be in 6 months on the card in WWE, and would that be of harm to MVP as well long term? But I think short term that could make a lot of sense. And to give a prediction, I can't believe I'm saying it, but Omos is going to win.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Omos to win. MVP to cost Bobby. Bobby won't lose any momentum, not really because he's injured, to be fair. And putting out there, Steve, later this year we'll get Brock Lesnar versus Omos as well, which I don't know how they're going to put that. I'm dreading it already.
I would dread that as well. It's not one for me there. But no one's given their prediction on this match yet, but a quick mention here for the Street Profits to win via Jeff Samuel for the tag title match. And Rick Perry saying this is how I would do it. And have RK Bro win and have the Uso music hit. And I would have the Usos cut a promo facing you guys on the Raw after Mania and a winner take all on Raw. Very creative. Quite like it. I would be quite happy to see that go down, Rick. Very, very good stuff indeed. We've got Supersonic saying Bobby Lashley winning almost is aka Giant Gonzalez 2.0. He's losing big time. Of course, the thing is as well, the thing about him not being knocked off his feet, Lashley did it in the 2 seconds. Is it the case then because can he beat him as well? I mean, he kind of ruined the build already.
He can't. The key thing with this, I really thought they were building up to this whole thing of the first man to finally get almost off his feet at WrestleMania, a bit like Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. Thought that's what we're going to get. The fact we had it. I don't think so. Almost to win. And the original plans for this, if you want to know, Steve, I actually thought earlier in the year in January that if Bobby had kept the belt, this would have been a world title match. So I'm glad it's not for the world title. Goodness. It's a miracle. It isn't really, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm very happy that did not play out. Really, really happy. But a lot of people may not be happy that this match played out, but I will explain why I am in a second. Johnny Knoxville against Sami Zayn, anything goes. Now, one thing granted, Johnny Knoxville 15 years ago would have been better in this spot, but Jackass Forever has come out. It's been a global sensation. It's worked really well in box office, and it's worldwide. It's something that goes and connects with audiences everywhere. Johnny Knoxville has done in WWE, and Sami Zayn has worked his butt off to make this work with Zayn, with the phone number stuff. It's played perfectly into Sami Zayn's character, storyline narrative, the fact that he won the title, the IC title, and lost it within a week. You can't get more Sami Zayn than that. And now it's an anything goes idea that Johnny Knoxville has to wrestle. He doesn't have to do headlocks and wrist locks and body slams and stuff. It's kendo sticks, it's trash cans, it's steel chairs, and it's also an element of how Sami Zayn will lose this match, because the whole Jackass cast are going to get involved in this match, and they're going to destroy Sami Zayn in a 5-minute squash match. Sami Zayn has direction, narrative going on after WrestleMania. You've got a WrestleMania moment, and Sami Zayn gets over in defeat. I'm on my heel. I'm on my own, I think, but I'm going to stay there. Jonesy, tell me why I'm wrong.
No, yeah, I think to be fair, you put a great argument and a great point across. Clearly, they trust Sami Zayn with celeb. Sami Zayn last year was stuck with Logan Paul. That didn't go too well, did it? So Sami Zayn's record isn't particularly great. I think this will be a fun match. This is the closest we're going to get to a hardcore match on the pay-per-view. I've got this feeling of Raven, Kane, and Big Show in the back of my mind as similar type of spots in this match we may get. But for me, I don't want to see Sami Zayn lose, so I'm going to go against you. I think Sami Zayn will get the win, and I think he'll get attacked after by the Jackass cast. But Johnny Knoxville's going to do some crazy bumps. This could be Darby Allin style. This could be almost Mick Foley versus Darby Allin, that type of style. And some of the bumps we're going to get, I'm pretty sure Johnny's going to go for a few tables.
Yeah, I think it will be a lot of fun. However, they're going to do it, and like you say, I think Johnny will take a few bumps. That's one thing for sure before the cast get involved here. Rick's saying here that he thinks Sami Zayn wins. It should be fun, crazy if they bring out the thumbtacks. Could you imagine Johnny Knoxville going through thumbtacks? Wow. Sorry, that seems quite funny, doesn't it? It seems quite hardcore and extreme, but hey, he's probably done worse. Jake Michael says that John Knoxville wins, and then Sami Zayn's going to snap and go full on Mankind and build a crazy character for Sami Zayn. I'd like that. That's creative.
I like it. It's very creative. I just don't trust WWE to do that, but it'll be fun. The three faces of Zayn. Can you imagine that?
That would be really soon. Cool. Sami Zayn reminds me of Mick Foley when he does a promo, so I like that idea. Almost wins, but says Randy Sam by MVP Tony Hill introduces him to a suit, and we get a new Hurt Business too. That would be quite fun to see, and we've seen also Lashley wins for an oh my god moment, like he did to Andre the Giant. If you get my point, yeah, could be quite fun. We've been told here as well. We're calling up here first. I'm calling up Supersonic X, going with Sami Zayn winning because he's going to continue to lose to celebrities, but he needs to beat John Knoxville. I don't think he needs to personally, but I do agree with you that the idea of losing to celebrities is interesting because it seems to be Sami Zayn's thing. Does he bring back El Generico though from the shadows? I like that idea, Ed. That's creative. Bringing back an old gimmick.
Yeah, I like it. It's very creative. Why not? Master all the Finn, aren't they? So why not bring it back? It'll be something different.
Absolutely, indeed. And last one is from Jason before we move on to our next match. See reports Shane McMahon coming back for WrestleMania. You don't think he'll be Seth's opponent. We have answered this already. We still believe it will be Cody, but we do think it would be utterly hilarious if Shane comes out. But we wouldn't be surprised if Shane come out and then it was Cody after. So there's a few answers there for you quick. But if you want to check out our full thoughts on the idea of Seth Rollins' match, go to earlier in the stream. We have discussed it in full detail there for you, Jason. But thank you anyway for bringing up attention for us in the comments. We'll go then to our next match then on the show. And we keep speaking about celebrities. It's a celebrity I think most WWE fans are willing to accept, especially if you watch NXT. It's Pat McAfee going against Austin Theory. And I say that because, well, Pat McAfee, he's wrestled on Cole, baby. He's been in War Games. We've seen Pat McAfee can go. There's no risk. It's going to be a proper match here with Pat McAfee. He's fully trained and good to go. We could have got Pat McAfee versus Vince McMahon after that.
You beat me podcast. To that. I was just about to say that. 100%. I mean, that was thank God we're not getting Vince McMahon in this match. Thank you, the WWE gods.
So are you happy that it's Pat McAfee against Austin Theory?
Yes, I am. This should be a great match. I think Pat McAfee, he was fantastic against Adam Cole at the TakeOver. So I think this will be fun. Austin Theory's on the up. They haven't had much time to build this, but I've enjoyed what they've done. So, yeah, this will be a good match. This feels like a fun match. I'm just interested if Vince gets involved in some capacity. I can see Vince getting involved or coming out and slapping Austin or something. But for me, your winner here is Austin Theory. They've done so much good work in rebuilding Austin, and a loss to Pat McAfee on this stage could be crippling, I think.
Yeah, I agree. This is the thing. This is how you use the celebrity. He's good in the NFL world. I know that for me personally, I'm not a big NFL follower, but definitely for WWE, he's over on commentary. He was over in NXT. He'll put on a good match. People that are casuals will know who he is. Austin Theory picking up a win. It ticks all the boxes. Austin Theory will be a main eventer and a WWE champion within the next 5 years. I think it'll be it for me within the next 18 months to 2 years. I think Austin Theory has that bright of a future. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Mr. McMahon in any capacity there, Jones. I think you made a good point.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think they've got to do some good. They've got to carry on the work they did. Obviously, Austin Theory this week got a victory over Ricochet on Raw, which is quite a big win. So it makes sense for him to win this. But I'm looking forward to seeing this. It should be fun, and yeah, just hopefully they get. Hopefully it's sort of they don't get too long. Hopefully they get given sort of some sort of element where they use weapons or something. I think that'll be fun. I think that'll play up. I think if this is a straight wrestling match, they may struggle slightly.
Absolutely. Well, Supersonic says, don't want to see Vince McMahon get stretched out like the injury he had back in 2005. I believe that was at the Royal Rumble. We did both of his quads. Yeah, that would be quite fun. And yeah, we're going to go on to our next match in the meantime because we'll make sure we get everything in. We are strapped for a bit of time, so we'll make sure we get everything in. We're going to do the Women's Tag Team Championship match, the Fatal 4-Way. We've got, of course, the champions Zelina, Queen Zelina and Carmella. We've got Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan. We've got Team Bad, Sasha Banks and Naomi. And the add-on team of Natalia and Shayna Baszler. All four teams here, well, technically have all been thrown together in the last 6 months, but we had one team at the Royal Rumble. All the other teams have just basically get everyone on the card here, really, isn't it? But what are your thoughts of this match? I think it could actually be, a sleeper match. I think people could be quite interested in it.
I think it'd be really, really good. There's a lot of talent there. You've got obviously Sasha Banks, last year challenging for the world title in the main event. You've got Rhea Ripley, last year winning the world title. And you've got Natalia Shayna. I think this will be an okay match. I am slightly disappointed by the placement of Sasha and Rhea. I can't lie. I think I'm disappointed, but I think this will be okay. It is a filler match, and I think this is a point where you're going to have new tag team champions. I cannot see Queen Zelina and Carmella winning. I think the winners of this, my prediction, ultimately, I think we may get Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan win, which would be quite nice. It pays off that feel good for Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's been a nearly woman so many times this year, so that would be kind of my prediction.
That's a very good prediction there. Very interesting to see how that would play out as well. You mentioned there very quickly, and I'm just going to bring these couple of questions into the stream. You mentioned about the disappointing placements. Do you think it would have made more sense to have done a singles match between Sasha Banks and Rhea Ripley?
Give the guy a medal. Sorry for the clap, Steve, but yeah, exactly that, mate. That would have been a huge match. Like that would have been far bigger than this. But I'm just glad Sasha's in this spot. But the booking of her since the Royal Rumble has not been the best. She's that good. She's that much of a star. But I think for me, it's fine. I just it just shows you how stacked that women's division is in WWE, that they can put that many people in a tag team match and rather than singles matches.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess they have not got the room to keep doing all the singles matches. But one other question I want to ask you as well was Sasha Banks has never won on a WrestleMania.
Interesting. I don't think she's winning here. I may be wrong, but they don't want to saddle her with this tag team title because they really need her to be sort of challenging for the women's title. Potentially, they could go down that route of either her face Bayley when Bayley comes back, or she can even go back to Bianca Belair if they need to. But for me, I think, as we said, I can't see them winning. And I just think it'll be fun. What's good about this match is very, very open. There's 3 teams here that can easily win it. And just to try and guess one, it's very hard. But I think for me, let's just see what happens. I'd love in a dream world Bayley to come back and cost Sasha in some capacity, and let's start that again. But I can wish.
That would be really, really cool. That would be really, really cool. Well, the reason I asked that was because of the fact that I actually think Sasha and Naomi are going to win. I just wondered if the story would be better long-term to do that. But we've got so many comments flying in, so we're going to throw some of those on the screen for us now. Then we're going to go backwards to the previous match and then go forwards to this match. Shane McMahon could cost Austin Theory. That would be an interesting way to use Shane at WrestleMania. It would be more better, I think, rather than actually bringing him in against Seth Rollins. Pat McAfee win as well for Jackson Rick, and also saying the idea of Naomi and Sasha Banks winning, then Lita's music hits and introducing an old friend in Trish Stratus. That would be some fun fantasy booking if we would see that. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Why is Lita not on WrestleMania? Sasha Banks versus Lita would make sense as well, wouldn't it? Or even Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I just guess they may be struggling to put everybody on the card, maybe. But no, definitely. I like that creative, though. That's a great idea.
It certainly is indeed. They see Jeff Samuel's predictions on screen there, and also saying that a good SummerSlam match would be Rhea versus Sasha Banks. Totally agree there. But yeah, Sasha and and Naomi for me to win. And you said that you've gone with Rhea and Liv. I've made sure I've heard that correctly.
Yep, that's correct, mate.
That is
Yep.
indeed. Well, let's go then to Edge versus AJ Styles. Of course, AJ hopefully now goes back to the face that runs the place, the AJ that we sort of old of going for world titles. He got a concerto for his troubles from Edge after actually accepting that match at WrestleMania when Edge was calling for someone for over a week, and no one really seemed too keen on responding. Edge has now gone to a different, seems to be, if you're a UK fan, he's more Bill Bailey-esque, it feels. But at the same time, we've got the new entrance music from Alter Bridge, quite like it. But the blue sort of lighting, not as big a fan of, but the promo work is still excellent as always. Does this Edge character get a big win at WrestleMania, or does this Edge character not need to win, and it actually is more beneficial and more of a must for AJ to win at this show?
I think it's a really hard decision. I think this is one of the biggest matches of the weekend for me. It's the match I'm most excited about. The rebuilding of Edge since he turned heel has been phenomenal, and I just think this is interesting in terms of a winner. It depends on what route they want to go down. Clearly, they're going to need people for potentially to face Roman later this year, and it depends if you want to do Edge versus Roman again, which I don't see. And for me, I want to say AJ Styles. This could be finally the place that AJ Styles gets that big win. So I'm going to go with that. I think AJ Styles to win. I think Edge will push him to the limit. I just hope that there's some sort of element where the ref gets knocked out and we get some sort of weapons or something like that. Because I think for me, this could have been a great no holds barred match or 3 stages of hell match if it would have been done right. I think it needs a gimmick of some sort. This could have been Mick Foley versus Edge in 2022. For me, it could have been like that. It could have been as good as that. But let's not take away from this match. It's going to be superb. This is a dream match, really. One of a kind.
It is a dream match. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how it's going to go down. I think that for me, I think this is the first of a few matches. This is the thing for me. I don't think this is one and done, which is why I think these big stipulation matches can come at a future date. I don't think it's necessarily needed here. But what I would say is that I'm a big fan of both of them, and I would say that it makes sense for both guys to win on this show. But for me, I'm going to go for AJ Styles to pick up the victory, but I think Edge is going to be the one that's walking out without being carried out on a stretcher. I think that AJ will be beaten down after the match.
I like it. Controversy, mate. It sounds good.
Let's see how it will go down. But that's our picks for it anyway. And to close up the stream, let's close on the most stupendous way possible. Another feud that's been going on since SummerSlam. The biggest WrestleMania match of all time, winner takes all championship unification match, is of course Brock Lesnar, the WWE champion, against the Universal champion, our tribal chief, head of the table, Roman Reigns. So, I mean, obviously Brock came back. We had the match at Crown Jewel. Roman won on that occasion, but he's not been able to do the job at WrestleMania. I like the way that was actually built this past go-home show. I thought that made a lot of sense to do that. But of course, we've had Paul Heyman turn. Well, he was fired, wasn't he, from Roman at one point, to then go back with Brock, to then turn on Brock. Brock has won the WWE Championship, lost the championship due to Paul Heyman to Bobby Lashley, to then win it back in the Royal Rumble. He won the Royal Rumble, then won the championship in the Elimination Chamber. We've now got champion versus champion at WrestleMania. And of course, not sure what's going to happen with the championships afterwards, if it's going to be 2 belts or if it's going to be changed into 1 new belt, but time will tell what will happen. I've even seen rumors of Roman disrespecting the WWE Championship, throwing it to the side, and the tournament starting on the Raw after Mania. But certainly it's going to be a lot of interesting thoughts and philosophies. But first off, Jonesy, what's been your thoughts of the build of this match? And then you can perhaps round it off with giving us a prediction.
I've really enjoyed it. I think it's been built well. This is the one match that feels like it's had a really good build. It's had a good storyline the whole way through. The Paul Heyman turn was genius. 2 of the most over people in WWE at the moment, the 2 most protected people in WWE. This is one of a kind match. This is 2022's answer to Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. This is a once in a lifetime type match, and this is the closest Roman is going to be to losing the belt. But for me, I think the winner here, our tribal chief isn't dropping the belt here. Roman Reigns will retain, and I think that at the end of WrestleMania, hopefully, if WWE are listening to me and they've got some sense, Roman Reigns' next opponent will come out at the end of the show. That's what they've got to do. And you've got to have some sort of cheap attack or something like that, I think. But for me, it's going to be a great match. It's going to be hard hitting, but Roman Reigns to win here. I can't see him, the win streak losing here, unfortunately. I think Brock, he's done a great effort, but it's just not happening. Roman's no way losing, I'm afraid. Not at this pay-per-view.
No, to be fair, I'm going to keep it short on this one. Roman ain't losing. And it would be an absolute travesty of a mistake to make Roman lose on this show. All the hard work into the head of the table, the tribal chief, you've built him up for 2 years, however many days as champion. To lose to Brock Lesnar, you're going back to square one. This is the crowning moment of actually Brock saying, after beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30, taking John Cena out the main event, all those years as he's been that guy. Brock Lesnar, it's now time for him to pass the torch over to Roman to be the top dog and then bring other superstars up with him. We're trying to build that new generation, and Roman has to be the head of the table that does it. So you're perfectly right there, Jonesy. I completely agree. But the thing is, though, you said music to hit at the end to set up for his next opponent. Did you mean next opponent or next WrestleMania? Jake Paul has got us covered here with the idea of Roman Reigns, and then the Rock's music hits, and then Brock is gone. Yeah, I mean,
I think
for
we
me,
could get a Virginette. We could get a Virginette potentially. That would be good because you're not going to get the Rock there. I don't think that would be crazy, gaga crazy if they got the Rock there making the pop. But yeah, you could potentially get that. Or Steve, be controversial. Roman wins, the lights go out, and then you get a Stone Cold Stunner. Imagine that the way to end it. But I can wish.
It's in Texas, so you wouldn't say the never, would you,
No.
at this point? But I mean, the thing is that, and Jake also said, by the way, that Brock is getting better on the mic, which is strange. I never saw this Brock ever. Yeah, I just the idea of Raw as well. He just played along with the watch chants as well. So you
Yeah,
mentioned
he
Steve
did well. He
Austin.
handled it well.
He handled it very well, played into Steve Austin, so it could actually make a narrative if they wanted to, and said that Austin never beat him. There's a Saudi match in the future, isn't there? But yeah, at the same time, it's an ideology that certainly could happen. And for me, I would not say that I'd be against the idea of The Rock turning up on the night and setting up for a WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood, because The Rock is not going to be able to turn up everywhere. If he can turn up even for 10 minutes at this show, stare down with Roman and say WrestleMania next year, me and you. They did it before, a full year calendar building up like that with John Cena and The Rock once in a lifetime. Like I think you said earlier, they could do this then with Roman versus The Rock. Roman versus The Rock. And Roman wouldn't even need to be champion by that point. The match would sell itself.
No, definitely. I think the thing with it, they did such a good job of keeping Brock Lesnar a secret at SummerSlam. This is the one thing, if they can do, that is a wow moment. Like, I don't know what else really they could do in terms of getting better for Roman next, but I'd love to see it. I think if you do that, having that sort of pop with the crowd, I can just picture it now. That is a way to get people talking about the end of WrestleMania. That's a way to make a moment that stands out.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff Samuel is calling and says Jonesy is right, because Roman also called out Steve Austin, and that's very, very true. So perhaps one or both of them could be facing Austin in the future. That would be very fascinating to see. And I would be down for both. Honestly, I think it'll be really, really cool. And also, we've got here the Gaming God from Alice is a bit delayed, but went back, and Rhea versus Sasha. Liv should the team with Alexa. Where is Alexa Bliss? She's not on this show just before we close off the stream.
She's coming back after WrestleMania. They're going to repackage her again, I think. She's obviously had that psychotherapy that she's having. But she'll be back after WrestleMania. Definitely.
That would be interesting. Potentially, the Raw after Mania would be good. And Jake Paul there says Raw after Mania surprise review next. We'll try and see what I can do. There's lots coming up on the channel over the next few days. But thank you for the kind words indeed. But that's pretty much it for our WrestleMania predictions. Jonesy, anything you want to say before we close off the stream?
No, thank you for everyone for watching. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope it's everything you want. And yeah, thank you always for your comments and tuning in. Thank you for having me on your channel, Steve. Great to be on. I will be doing a live review. That's next Thursday on my channel. If anyone wants a review reaction, just obviously check it out. But yeah, as always, Steve, thanks for sort of having me on. It's been great to chat wrestling again. WrestleMania. I'm looking forward to it.
And I do encourage everyone to go and subscribe to Jonesy if you haven't already. Make sure to check out the review. It's always great to hear his thoughts and opinions on everything pro wrestling. Go and check out. There's loads of videos on SCW right now. I'm overflowing the channel with videos. Make sure to go and check them all out before WrestleMania to get that WrestleMania fever. And of course, if other companies are your flavor, there's videos for them as well. It will continue tomorrow as well with WrestleMania 21, the retro review. And last question before we close off today, on a scale of 1 to 10, how was that Will Swift slap with Chris Rock? Jonesy, on a scale of 1 to 10?
I think it was like a 5 or 6. I get why he did it, but to me, it seemed so staged, didn't it? But I get why it wasn't appropriate. And yeah, making fun of someone's sort of illness and all that lot, I'm not really a fan of it. But it's a shame, really. Obviously, the fact it's in the public eye and stuff like that, I just think it's tough. Like, if you've got personal issues and whatever else going on, it's no wonder he snapped. It's just a shame, really, for the drama it brings, really. It took away from the awards.
Absolutely. It did take away from the awards. And I would say, actually, to answer that I totally agree with Jones. The joke was massively inappropriate. But Will Smith, I understand emotions take over from time to time, but that's not the way to react on things. But he has come out and publicly apologized since. So, yeah, that's I guess, all we'll say on the Oscars. But, hey, we'll have to wait and see. Who knows? That's a celebrity match. Maybe we could see it at WrestleMania instead. But anyway, that's all from us anyway. Thank you for watching as always, and enjoy WrestleMania. And there will be reviews for WrestleMania's Night 1 and 2 on this channel as well. So there's another reason to subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Take care. All the best. We'll see you soon.
See you later, guys.